Hello everyone, it's Saturday morning. I'm just off to Sunderland Antiquarians, but I thought beforehand I'll have a walk here on the way and do a short video, and I decided I'd go and visit a lovely memorial to the Preston family. So this is Sunderland Cemetery in Grangetown. I think it was 1855 or 1857 this was opened up. Another large Victorian cemetery, opened when the church closed all the graveyards and burial grounds in the centre of Monk Weymouth, Bishop Weymouth and Sunderland. This is the well-known entrance, which gets covered in blossom around, I think it's about April, May time each year, and people come from all over to take pictures. I know I do. It's always packed. You've got people even park the cars down here, the fancy cars, and get them pictured underneath the cherry and so on. There's the two cemetery chapels. It's the northern one and then the southern one. We haven't got far to go towards the grave I wanted to show you. Back in the 1800s, these three places, Sunderland, Monk Weymouth and Bishop Weymouth, rapidly expanded, but Monk Weymouth not so much as the other two, because I read somewhere that because I think it was one landowner owned lots of Monk Weymouth, sort of controlled it, so it never expanded like as much as Sunderland and Bishop Weymouth did. But this is the memorial. As you can see, the family have this large burial plot, and that's an ornamental box tomb, so there won't be anybody buried in that. The family members will be buried in this burial ground, which I'll just scan around. It did have iron railings around it, and probably a gate at the front. You can see where the iron railings were, but lots of them were taken away for the war effort. I think it was the Great War. But as an example here, this is the Short family burial ground, and this has still got some of the ornamental railings on that one. I think that's Short of the shipyard, or was it Boilermakers? We'll have a look at this one here, right? So with these places expanding, there was lots of demand for slate, whether it was for snooker tables, church roofs, houses. So there was a few slating firms in the town. And the Preston family was one of them. There was also the Nelson family, Digby Nelson. But if you go around any of these old cemeteries, you'll find headstones made out of slate. There's black slate and there's blue slate, so some firms did both, some did only one, and it seems quite traditional that most of the people you ever see who were slaters do have a slate headstone. So blue slate is absolutely beautiful. Doesn't look as blue as it probably once did. We'll get a close-up in a moment of it here. So the Preston family would have purchased this plot to bury many members of the family in here, and the right to put up a memorial. So there could be quite a few in here. So we'll have a look at this side first, because there's stuff on each side. In affectionate remembrance of Anne Preston, who departed this life January the 19th, 1864, aged 68 years. Now the Preston family, if I remember correctly, had origins over in Westmoreland, and they came across to Bishop Weymouth. Somebody walking past. One of the family became mayor of Sunderland. So that's that side done. There's nothing on this side. I'll give you a close up of the blue slate. Might show up better on the camera. So I think it's faded. And then got a lovely little ladybird. Just while I was walking past, I noticed this grand memorial. We'll have a look at this. watch, think, ye know, something missing there, not what the Lord doth come. A bit of memento mori, remember you must die. But that is a beautiful memorial. See if there's anything on this side. It's quite a button here. I haven't brought my torch out. This is in memory of John Preston, Esquire, blue slate merchant and ship owner, Bishop Weymouth, Sunderland, who departed this life April the 17th, 1850 something, I think. I'm having to look through the camera lens to see if I can see it. I think that's is it possibly 1858? So I'm guessing he'll be buried here. So a lot of these businessmen invested in ships, bought shares in ships. Obviously Sunderland was a shipbuilding port, but it was also a port just in terms of trade. And thousands of Sunderland men and some women worked on these ships going all over the world. The more interesting stuff on here, I'll see if there's any more. I'm trying to watch it without climbing on top of it. So I'll have to come around here because it's a bit wobbly. So I'm not actually looking through the camera because I'm at the side, but so apologies if there's loads of little red spiders on here. And there's another. Right, because I'm stood on the side, I'm not looking through the camera lens, so I don't know exactly where it's pointing. I'm not going to climb up on here. So I'm going to read this out and just point it generally. In affectionate remembrance of Henrietta, relict of Leonard Preston, slate merchant, so that's another member of the family, of Leeds, who died December the 12th, 1865, aged, I think that's either 40 or 10 years old. It's probably made from slate that the family and the firm owned. A relict was a widow who never remarried and then died at some point, obviously. So from this, if I remember, this branch of part of the family, one of them had moved to Leeds from Bishop Weymouth, and then they must have come back, or some of the sons did. And it mentions the above, as I said, I'm just pointing in the general direction. The above Leonard Preston was interred at the Gill Cemetery. So let me see it through the camera. I think that's some strange looking red spiders there. I think that's 1865. Henrietta, relict of Leonard Preston, who died So the Gill Cemetery, I mentioned loads of times, I've done any videos. If you are interested in that cemetery, go on my Facebook group, the Gill Cemetery. There's loads of pictures. The Gill Cemetery was that cemetery which is now going to be turned into a park. It's got a lot of history. So, as I mentioned, around some of the Sunderland cemeteries you can see headstones which mention people who were buried there. And then it mentions also Harriet Wardle, who died June the 4th, 1872, aged 75 years, at end was peace. And then also Harriet Elizabeth Lewis, daughter of Richard and Harriet Lewis, who died May 16th, 1878, aged 13 months. The flower faded. I'm going to move back now because I should be able to read this from back here now. Just I didn't want to put my shadow over it. I think I'm alright. Also Ethel Lewis, daughter of Richard and Harriet Lewis, who died January the 15th, 18... Again, I'm having to stretch over here. Where's it gone there? January the... I think that's 80 or 1880. Sorry about this, it's just it's really difficult to stretch across here. I'm having to hold the camera close and look at it from a distance. and she was just aged 6 weeks. Of such is the kingdom of heaven. And then also of the above named Richard Lewis, who fell asleep March the 16th, 1917, and Harriet Preston Lewis, who fell asleep December 16th, 1916. So I'm guessing there's a lot of Harriets there, and Lewis. So I'm reckoning Elizabeth Lewis was probably Harriet Elizabeth Lewis was probably originally Harriet Elizabeth Preston. She might possibly married the Lewis, and then they must have had a granddaughter or a daughter and given her the names Harriet Preston after the family member. So it's a fine memorial to members of the Preston and Lewis family. If you're ever at Sunderland Minster, on the paving on the western side there is actually a Preston Slate memorial for Samuel Preston, who is part of this particular family. Just opposite Greens, there is one there if you're ever walking through. But it was a bit chilly when I woke up this morning and started walking here, but at least the sun's out and it's warmed up a little bit. The birds are out. Very peaceful place. Well, it would be if we weren't next to one of the busiest roads in Sunderland, I should say, but it back in the day when this was opened, it would have been so quiet. We're a couple of miles from like the centre of Sunderland, and this was just in the countryside, surrounded by cottages, the odd house, farmsteads, so on. Right, I'm going to end this video now, but I'll just say thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, give it a like, and if you want to, click on the subscribe. But I'll just leave you with one last look at the blue slate memorial for members of the Preston and Lewis family. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care everyone, bye.